1, 2, 3. The only way that they stay in it, Bren, they got to go for the reverse sweep.
They really do. It's from this point on, they've got to really pull up the bootstraps. They've got to get to work, but it's a hard ask. The analyst desk was talking about it time and time again. They're expecting this to go to a 3-0. This is a 1-2-3-0 Overwatch, you know. But it is going to be the next map that we're going to be seeing as you can probably imagine, Temple of Anubis. Is the answer, and I can understand this pick by 1, 2, 3. They want a bit of a wild card. Anubis can honestly go either way, especially with it being one of the newer maps in the rotation for the playoffs of Contenders. You can definitely understand why they've gone for this.
Well, the reason being is that this was not a map in the regular season, but it is in the pool for the playoffs, and this is where, if you're a team that is suffering perhaps because you're playing with a roster that you didn't play with, how do you even the odds? You go to something that both teams have less practice on as a whole, and you hope that that's enough to tilt things in your favor.
Yeah, it's funny enough, I was speaking to Gigantti again about Anubis, and they aren't particularly big fans of this map. The way a lot of it is decided, mainly because they are relatively unpracticed on it, that you can understand from that aspect why they're going to be bringing in 2 Temple of Anubis, because they want to be trying to take this as a sort of wild card pick. But the Gigantti really don't like it because in a lot of ways you're often stuck at this second checkpoint, and because it is very much a defender's advantage, it's a unique assault map in that regard, in that you can actually get these full holds kicking off time and time again. You often don't really see it go to both checkpoints being captured. If you do, it means that both teams aren't really as comfortable on the defense. But Gigantti in this case, they are most likely, I believe, going to be on the defense as they get to pick the side. So they're going to be starting with that slight advantage, bit of a mental sort of upper hand over 1, 2, 3.
Or at least from Gigantti's perspective. There are times where a team really prefers to go offense first and whatnot. Perhaps they've played right into their hands. But in any case, you take a look at this Gigantti defense, and what strikes out to me is that they are going to be running the Sombra here in first point. Not every team does it, but you can get very good momentum on Anubis like other maps if this first attack goes well for the defense.
Soon find out. Gigantti are going to be sticking with a pretty standard composition, I think, for most assault maps in general. Again, we're going to see some Sombra. You know, if anybody is watching this at home or even in the studio itself, they're new to Overwatch, you're wondering, Sombra is almost a key piece for most team compositions on assault. You do run it quite often. It plays to her strengths excellently. You can build up those EMPs rapidly. Now, 1, 2, 3, going to be initiating with something a little bit different now. Still going to be keeping this triple DPS, but Vinci is on the Widowmaker. It's not often that you really see this come outside of maps like Ilios Ruins.
And when 1, 2, 3 put the game into the Widow Zone earlier in the series, it worked out really well for them, and this is one of the most favorable early attack points for Widowmaker. So Finzi right now, plenty of room to work with. Gigantti, they must play around him rather than the reverse, and Big Goose, lucky he didn't get picked off there as Finzi is landing shot after shot.
Yeah, he's hitting the body shots, but no finishing blows. However, that doesn't really matter if 1, 2, 3 can capitalize off the damage he's doing. Still, the reflect, Finzi fell very low there, almost actually ended up shooting himself in the cranium, but we see an EMP already built up by Shaz. He ends up committing it pretty early on. So fragging out for the time being, and the reflect. Was that a reflect or just a shuriken?
That was a reflect.
Boy,
he shot himself in his own dome.
Yeah, it's harsh. But 1, 2, 3 right now, they are just trying to build up this ultimate advantage. It's uncommon for teams to get full hold on this first checkpoint. However, Gigantti are putting on a very convincing show for now.
Still though, Finzi's going to get another chance at this. Might have a better judgment on the reflect this first time around. And now Linkzer's already out of the fight. So Linkzer, Big Goose, they're gone. 1, 2, 3, starting to play the attrition game here, where it's going to be hard for Gigantti to get back in. It's a long run back, and Davin is going to fall. And Fraggy, you are so alone right now, as he is very much outnumbered between the two teams.
Zappius has the Disco Lore placed on him. 1, 2, 3 right now are just going to be happily taking this fight. They've built up the ultimates, but they realistically don't need to use it still. Dragonblade gets committed to try and even it out. Linkzer as well gets brought down. I believe he didn't actually use his Dragonblade, he just built it up, so he gets taken down, but now 1, 2, 3 in a position, they can start to look for more angles. Finzi, I wonder if he's going to be sticking on this Widowmaker or if he's going to be switching off. Normally you do see players switch off, and indeed, he's going to be going to the McCree. Again, it's that soft Sombra counter I was talking about earlier. You use the flashbang to get those surprise kills onto Shaz.
McCree is also very good at cleanup here for the final point of Anubis, where McCree can make plenty of room. And if you get the early pickoff, it doesn't have to come from McCree, but if he gets an uneven number scenario, he can be very good at just clearing out the spawners as they come back in. So I like McCree as a win condition here as Anubis. The problem is, from a offensive point of view, is how do you put that in your favor when you're going up against a very sizable ultimate advantage? Tactical already down.
Just rotating around for the time being. Flashbang gets sent out. Finzy's desperately hunting for these kills, but he realizes the jig is up. He's got to back out of there. The kill is flowing into Gigantti's favor. Still, 1, 2, 3, they've got plenty of time to work with. 5 minutes and 10 seconds is a lot to just try and build up those ultimates, rotate them around, try and force Gigantti's ultimates away from them. That's really going to be the game plan for 1, 2, 3 coming into this. And you see a quick little replay. Davin was absolutely paramount in that defense in that previous engagement.
Davin right now able to do enough, and the biggest part there is that it meant that Gigantti didn't have to expend any defensive ultimates, where Gigantti now is in a very good position. They have resources at their disposal. 1, 2, 3 has to spend these resources just to get in, but they get fraggy early, a little bit too far out, couldn't leap away, and now Gigantti, they're gonna have to go into their stash.
Yeah, okay, excellent usage of ultimates by 1, 2, 3, actually using that Transcendence and following up with a few more kills. Now the self-destruct comes out by Zappis, doesn't quite find the targets he's looking for, but still, they have the bodies on the point. Now the sound barrier by Denia. 1, 2, 3 looking to really seal this one out. Snillo rotating around the map, looking for the opportunities. Discord Orb was placed onto Fraggy. He has to back out of there, but now the Dragon Blade. Linksa tries to turn this one around, realizes he has to back out. Now he's going to be sitting in the spawn, moving over to the Doomfist. The last minute switch. We've seen teams like to do this CP just to gain a bit of an upper edge.
And it's a case where if you get a pick off, you can derail the offense. But 1, 2, 3, they're looking very on track. The Deadeye taking down 2. Finzy, this is where McCree can clean up. He's in his own zone, finds Davin, and can just casually look for more. I'm not even sure Fraggy wants to take this fight, but no, he's gonna fight him here. And the health pack is hacked. There was no help there at all as Finzy easily finishes it out.
Still only a tick gain so far. Gigantti have managed to get a few more bodies onto the point. Still 1, 2, 3 pressuring them now. Finzy not being dealt with. Big Goose really just being absolutely destroyed there by Finzy, popping off in the back lines, but finally brought down in the end. Pulse bomb by Snillo will try and equalize it out as Zappis will fall, and they even use the sound barrier here to try and find this opportunity. Self-destruct by Happy Cool will definitely clear them off the point, buy them a tiny bit of time, but now the EMP moves in by Shaz.
All right, Chaz still staying in here on the defensive Sombra, taking down Snillo. And now 1, 2, 3, just still trying to push in, but they've lost so much here already that it's gonna be pretty difficult. You need that decisive edge to put progress on the board, and not so much here.
Yeah, I think one of the outstanding players for Gigantti has been Shaz across the board as well. I mean, his Sombra play on this particular section, you wouldn't particularly think of it for him, but he has been playing incredibly well in regards across this series, as well as his Zenyatta plays. The Discord Orbs really helping him get these defenses in. But now, question is, how are they going to be defending against 1, 2, 3? Bok has built up his Transcendence. Finzy, still alive, almost ends up killing himself with the reflect there, just firing out these shots. He's got to take care of this backline. Flashbang gets sent out onto Fraggy, and now the Primal Rage will be forced out as he looks to try and take this further. Gigantti, for committing a few ults, sound barrier going to be used to try and defend this one.
Self-destruct over the top, not going to connect, but will be making space here. 1, 2, 3, they're in a rough spot, and Links are gonna make it a little bit rougher. The Blade coming out, gets one, looking for more. Your cleanup has arrived in the form of the Blade.
Nobody thought he was dead. He just stood still there, was waiting for it, but in the meantime, team cleans up in the backline. Shaz as well will find Finzy, and now Gigantti again sitting on a bit of an ult advantage. Zappis ends up switching on and off, so he loses his ult percentage, but he's back on the Diva, back in his suit, and they do have an EMP to defend this with. But 1, 2, 3 now, again, 2 minutes remaining for them. They've got 45% and waiting, and now they're starting to build up the ults. Denia very close to that sound barrier. This next fight could decide a lot.
Shaz right now waiting in the back, looking to just EMP 1, 2, 3 and ruin them to begin with. Bok has to be his main target. He's under assault here early on, not quite going to fall here just yet. But you look at 1, 2, 3, they've gone through relatively unscathed, but they haven't forced out the EMP yet. Shaz still very much a threat. Going to the back line, looking for the Zen, drops the EMP, but not able to drop Zen.
Still gets a good EMP off, forces them back, but you're absolutely right. They didn't bring down Bok like they were hoping. And now 1, 2, 3 are trying to fight this. They use the sound barrier, but I don't think it's going to be working in their favor. They end up losing 3 of their players, so again, they have to back off. And Gigantti, Linksa with this switch to the Junkrat has denied so much. And now look at this, Happy Cool, he's the baby diva. Oh no, it's heartbreaking. Please, there's families watching here, but they do eventually bring down Happy Cool. He's gone. Gigantti have so much to work with to defend this one out, and we see some, again, last-minute switches. Finzy, with only a minute remaining, has switched to the Zarya.
All right, last moment adjustments here for 1-2-3. Don't forget, if they don't take this map, that's it. Their road to the finals is closed, and it'll be Gigantti moving on. So 1-2-3 still playing for quite a bit here. Davin, though, on the assault for the defense, holding back, looking for this early pulse bomb that could just ruin 1-2-3's day on what is their final opportunity. And Bren, he's being patient here. He wants to get that moment where he gets both supports, and now he's gonna rewind back. Didn't quite get it that time.
I think he recognizes that they are running this triple tank composition. It's hard to really get it done. Lays down the pulse bomb, but doesn't find a kill. Meanwhile, though, the backlines is being assaulted. We see Davin still trying to defend, zipping all over the place. We see the Tired Out coming out. Self-destruct to boot, but Linksa with the double kill. Both the supports missing from the map now for 1-2-3. They're running them down, and Gigantti are getting a very solid defense indeed. The overtime taking down only a single player remaining. Happy Cool will be brought down, and that will mean they only get a single checkpoint. And Gigantti, they have a lot of time to work with to cap this up and at least get a decent time. And this is rough now, ZP. These are the way the questions are asked. How are they going to be able to do this now?
So what it means for 1-2-3 is that they can win off a second point hold, but they don't have the margin for error that you would normally like. Even getting one tick for Gigantti is going to keep them relatively in check. So 1-2-3, actually their best chance of a victory here is a first point hold, but it's very difficult, especially when there's a reasonable possibility that Linksa might go to the Widow again, where even though it didn't work out as well early on, Widow is so strong on point A that I'd be surprised if Linksa didn't go for it, but he's a man of many talents. He can go through this in many different ways.
We've talked about his flexibility throughout the entire series, and it is outstanding the amount of heroes that he can play. There's a reason why they call him, Finland's gift to esports, because he is quite literally one of the best players, best Finnish players. Sorry, Taimu, you're probably listening. I mean, Fraggy right now is looking very questionably right at the camera. I'm sure he can't hear me, but he was about to dispute that statement. Still, Linksa is easily, one of the top Finnish players right now in Overwatch, and you can see why throughout these series, his flexibility, the way he moves around on the rolls. However, like you mentioned, the best chance for 1-2-3 to defend this one is going to be a full hold on that first point, but that is so rare and so hard to achieve on Anubis.
But this is a situation 1-2-3 finds themselves in. They not only have to win this map, but they also have to go for the reverse sweep. So if you're talking about unlikely things, they got a whole checklist that they got to go through here.
Yeah, it's a really tough ask for them. They've got to, just build it up from there. It's one step at a time. I think when you're in this situation, you can't start thinking about the next map. You just got to really just nail these problems one at a time, focus it down, and just hope for the best, that your composition, your team play, your foundations is going to be strong enough.
All right, well, we are heading into round number 2. Gigantti on the attack, their fate in their own hands. Should they get about 65% onto the second point, they will be meeting Misfits in the EU Contenders Grand Finals here at the Blizzard Arena.
Rolling out, we see Gigantti are going to be running Zappis on the Widowmaker. Unusual composition, but this is what they need to do. They need to pull out these strange sort of tactics in the end. I mean, this is a bit unusual. They want to keep Linksa onto the Genji instead, opting to rotate this one around. But already, look at this. He turns up. It doesn't even matter. Zappis with a headshot onto Happy. Shaz follows it up with Denia. And with those 2 picks, it makes it so much easier to capture this next point. 4 down already. It's going to be easy pickings to this first checkpoint.
Easy pickings barely begins to describe it. That was a slaughter. It was surgical. Gigantti takes it with the greatest of ease. And now 1-2-3, they're going to have to defend for over 7 minutes on last. That is an enormous amount of time, and there's so many ways that Gigantti can just take the 1-2 team fights required to put themselves in the grand finals.
2 ticks. That's all Gigantti need now to kick out 1-2-3 away from this series, out of the finals here, and they're going to be securing their own position. 1-2-3, got to try and step it up with the defense. They make some switches, but Shaz now moving on to the Reaper. Very effective in these last point holds, or last point pushes, I should say, over Happy Cool. He has found the initial kill onto Big Goose. The D-Mech as well onto Zappis is a good start. Gigantti losing these players means that the push is dead for the time being. However, they have built up ultimates now. So Gigantti, realistically, with this much time ZP, they can just wait it out, build up the ults.
They actually have enough time to do 2 to 3 full ultimate pushes if they want to play it that way. And also, the reason why you're seeing Shaz now move to the Reaper is that we talked about McCree being great on cleanup. Reaper is arguably a bit better because of what he does to tanks as they try and move back in. all Gigantti needs to do is just wait for that one time where they get the early pickoff. Sure, they're gonna have to go through the EMP, but once that time happens, it will be Shaz's time to shine. As Linkser, though, gonna open with the blade.
He moves in, looking for the kills, though. He gets brought down to EMP, gives enough time for Snillo to find that one kill. However, Davin answers back at the post bomb, brings down one player, but that will be it. 1, 2, 3, end up getting a defense, and the fight has to be reset. Gigantti back off. And again, they're making changes all over the place. Interesting composition, like we mentioned the Reaper, but what we didn't mention is the fact that Gigantti are running a solo support composition here. Very unusual. Normally you only see that with Sombra being around at the same time.
And solo support comps come out where you just want overwhelming force, and this is something we did used to see more often with solo support comps where you run it with the Doomfist. Used to see it a lot on point A from Cloud9. Now Linkser just looking for that one punch to become a hero.
Still looking for opportunities, trying to slam it in. Remember, Doomfist a little bit less effective than he has been in the past, but Gigantti, they really want to win this one out. They use the Silent Barrier, so the 1, 2, 3, getting brought down, but nobody answers back now. His Primal Rage is going to be doing a lot of damage mitigation. Shaz gets absolutely destroyed into the ceiling of Anubis, still being equalized out. But 1, 2, 3 will end up winning again. Another team fight. That was an interesting one. Still, they're sitting on these massive load of ultimates. 5 minutes now. They have managed to burn off at least 2 minutes here. Is this the start of the comeback, ZP? I don't want to call it just yet. I don't want to drop the caster's curse onto them, but this is looking good so far.
It's looking very good, and this is where let's talk about the idea of a reverse sweep. They have to overcome fairly significant odds. One thing that's in their favor here is that they didn't have to use the EMP. Bach was able to hold on to it, and now Gigantti, we see them setting up here once more, working their way in, but everyone's together. This is the buddy system taken to the max. You know who likes turning the lights out on this? Sombra. Bach has to be dealt with here, or he's going to just single-handedly crush this. Bach hasn't gotten the EMP here just yet, but now they move in. Where's the EMP?
Now looking for that D-Mech right now, and they do actually find a kill onto Denio with this now, and Davin as well, still finding these kills. Meteor Strike laid down along with the Death Blossom. This is so much damage already. They've got a single pick. Shaz finds a second one. Fincy tries to defend it now with the Self-Destruct, but ZP, this is disastrous for 1, 2, 3.
It couldn't have gone any worse. They're not able to land the entry EMP. Gigantti has him against the ropes. They're very close. Right about to get to the grand finals. They just need a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. Can they come in and delay? They have to. They have no choice. They're down to their final 2. But Gigantti, they drop the beat, and they are so close to victory.
They've lost so many players already, and Team Gigantti are holding so strong. They're focusing down the right players. Davin has not been dealt with in the slightest. He's finding so many picks, but 1, 2, 3 answer back. The sound barrier laid down will give them an opening here. They get the D-Mech. Fraggy goes down again. This could be doable. They are defending this. Bach ends up bringing down Zappers as he chases him down, and Gigantti, they are going to have to call this quits. They're going to have to accept that they didn't manage to capture it, even though they were so close.
That is ridiculous to have that level of comeback. If there was a fairy tale being written right now about 1, 2, 3, this would be in the playbook here, where everyone just gets crushed early on. There was no one left to defend. You had the best case scenario. Now, though, they're about 1 tick away, and they have to find a way through the EMP again. And Bach is a fairly consistent player. You can't count on him messing up twice, but Snillo, he's already down.
This is a big opening now, but Bach, he uses the EMP. They try and defend it. Meteor Strike by Hafiko laid down. Not enough damage to find any kills, but he's doing the justice, doing the work. But Shaz, he ends him, executed in mid-air. Shaz finding the picks, Self-Destruct as well. They are forcing them back. Now he unleashes the Death Blossom, getting the damage into Davin to get that cleanup going right now. The Primal Rage is being used by Nomi to just try and at least mitigate some of this defense, trying to get a few more bodies onto the point, but ZP, they're all falling.
They're all falling. Happy goes to the emergency Doomfist, and an emergency it is indeed. 1, 2, 3 on the verge of elimination. Can they get back in time? No! It's going to be Team Gigantti moving on to the grand finals.
Look at that. That is just very convincing from Gigantti. The analysts across the board predicted that it was going to go this way. It was an unfortunate set of circumstances for 1, 2, 3. The way they lost their main tank Tonic, they lost one of their main callers, they had to sub it in for Nomi, and whilst Nomi recently been signed for an Overwatch League team, not quite enough really to try and step up in a position that was really that they were lacking.
But it was a tough situation for 1, 2, 3 to begin with.
Yes.
This is a case where I don't think anyone is going to hold it against them for their performance here today, because you lose your main shot caller, you lose one of the best tanks in the game. It's difficult to come back from that.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Gigantti, as you can see, they're happy with this. They're really just shaking up their hands and whatnot. But We're going to be going to a quick commercial break, guys. Do not go anywhere. More Overwatch still ready and waiting later on in the day as we see the Analyst test. Those guys are going to be breaking down that match.
In the matchup, is it Anubis or will we see Volskaya in a